Heartbreak changes you, but not in the way you think. And the lesson most people miss is the one that quietly shapes who you become after it. You don't feel it right away. At first, it feels like loss, like something was taken from you without permission, like your world lost its balance, like everything familiar suddenly feels distant. You replay moments that no longer exist. You search for meaning in conversations that already ended. You try to fix something that is no longer there. And slowly, you begin to change. But here's the part no one prepares you for. Heartbreak doesn't just break your heart. It reshapes your perception of love, trust, and even yourself. You don't become the same person who entered that relationship. Something shifts, something quiet, but permanent. As Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." And maybe that is the hidden truth of heartbreak. It doesn't define you, it refines you. But most people never see this part. They stay stuck in the pain instead of understanding the transformation. Because heartbreak is not just an ending, it's a psychological awakening. And today, we're going to uncover the lesson most people miss, the one that changes everything. Heartbreak begins the moment you stop seeing clearly. Pain doesn't start when they leave. It starts when you ignore what was already ending. If you look back, really look back, you'll notice something strange. The ending didn't happen suddenly. It unfolded slowly. A delayed message here, a changed tone there, a distance that grew quietly, without announcement. But you didn't see it as ending. You saw it as temporary. And that's where heartbreak begins, not in the breakup, but in the denial before it, because the mind protects what the heart is not ready to release. So you explain away the signs. You say, "They're just busy. It's just a phase. Things will go back to normal." But deep down, something already knows the truth. As Sigmund Freud suggested, the mind often avoids painful truths to preserve emotional comfort. And so you stay, long after clarity has left. Think of it like standing in a room where the lights are slowly fading, but you convince yourself it's still bright, until suddenly you can't see anything anymore. That's heartbreak. Not the moment they leave, but the moment you realize you were already alone. And the lesson hidden here is simple. Awareness always arrives before acceptance. And the earlier you see clearly, the less you lose of yourself. You don't miss the person. You miss who you were with them. What hurts isn't their absence. It's the silence where your old self used to exist. Let's slow everything down here. Because this is the part most people never fully understand. When someone leaves your life, you think you miss them, their voice, their presence, their messages, their laughter. But if you're really honest, that's not all you miss. You miss the version of you that existed when they were around, the version that felt chosen, the version that felt wanted, the version that felt alive inside that connection. And now, that version feels gone. Think about the small things, waking up and checking your phone without thinking, seeing something funny and instinctively wanting to send it to them, walking through your day with their name quietly sitting in the back of your mind. And then, suddenly, nothing, no message, no reply, no presence, just silence where routine used to live. And that silence doesn't just feel empty, it feels unfamiliar. As Carl Jung once explained, identity is deeply tied to emotional attachments and relational experiences. So when a relationship ends, it doesn't just remove a person, it removes a structure your identity was built around. Imagine building a daily life around someone, your thoughts syncing with theirs, your emotions adjusting to their presence, and then one day, it all disappears. Not just the person, but the rhythm of your life. That's why letting go feels like losing yourself, because in a way, you are, but not permanently, just the version of you that was dependent on that connection. And here's the truth hidden inside the pain. You are not missing them. You are withdrawing from who you became with them. And that realization is the first step back to yourself. Healing begins when you stop running from yourself. The silence after them isn't empty. It's where you finally hear yourself again. There's a strange phase after heartbreak when everything slows down, not fully, but enough for you to notice it. The constant checking stops. The emotional chaos softens. The urgency to fix things disappears. And suddenly, you're left alone with your own mind. And that's where most people panic, because now there's no distraction. No good morning message to wait for. No emotional roller coaster to ride. No one else to focus your energy on. Just you and everything you've been avoiding. Your thoughts become louder, not because they changed, but because there's nothing drowning them anymore. And in that silence, you start seeing things differently. You remember moments you ignored before, times you stayed quiet when you should have spoken, moments you accepted less than you deserved, just to keep someone close. And slowly, a realization forms. You weren't just loving them, you were abandoning yourself in pieces. As Buddha taught, suffering is born from attachment, not just to people, but to expectations and emotional illusions. And that's exactly what heartbreak exposes. Think of it like this. You've been living in a room with loud music playing for months, and suddenly the music stops. At first, the silence feels unbearable, but then you start hearing things you never noticed before. Your breath, your thoughts, your truth. That's what healing is. Not forgetting, but finally hearing yourself again. And when you begin to listen, you realize something powerful. You don't need to become someone new. You just need to return to who you were before you forgot yourself. And that version of you was never gone, just buried. The lesson most people miss. You don't lose love. You find yourself. One day you won't feel the pain anymore. You'll just understand why it had to happen. At some point, something changes. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a shift inside your awareness. You stop checking, you stop waiting, you stop replaying the same story hoping for a different ending, and you realize something you couldn't see before. You were holding on to something that was already gone, not just physically, but emotionally. And the moment you accept that truth, the weight begins to loosen, not all at once, but enough to breathe differently. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And slowly, you begin to feel that strength again, not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need validation anymore, because you start seeing clearly. Love should not make you anxious. It should not make you question your worth. It should not make you lose yourself just to keep someone. And if it does, it was never the love you thought it was. It was attachment disguised as connection. And here's the lesson most people miss. Heartbreak was never the punishment. It was the awakening. It showed you where you overgave. It showed you where you ignored yourself. It showed you where you forgot your own value. And now you see differently. You choose differently. You love differently. You walk away differently, because you are no longer trying to be chosen. You are choosing yourself. As Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And maybe that's what this was all along. Not a loss, but a return. A return to awareness, a return to clarity, a return to yourself. So ask yourself, what if the pain wasn't meant to destroy you, but to remove everything that wasn't truly you? Because sometimes the person you lose is not the lesson, you are. And the moment you realize that, you stop chasing what left and start becoming who you were always meant to be.